Hey, Hogatha, how are you?
Hi, Ronnie. I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing so well. Thank you so much for coming on my new show. I really wanted to talk to you because we're really going into some turbulent times here, and you're just the woman that I wanted to get on the show, so I really appreciate you giving me some of your valuable time to come and educate the public here.
Well, thanks for. I'm flattered that I'm just the first one you picked. I'm sure you know some great people and everything.
Well, there are some powerful female voices out there, but I really wanted to get one, if not the most outspoken woman. And, I know you've been facing extra discrimination lately. Like, you've lost your social media accounts. Alex Jones has made fun of you. You've had your reproductive rights stricken. And so that's why I just really wanted to try to, educate myself and hopefully anybody watching this and get your take on what's going on with the world. So I hope this is a safe space I can provide for you to touch some of those things.
Well, I appreciate that. Rodney. This is the thing. I just don't think that people understand really how someone like me can be completely traumatized after the election. And not just that he was elected, but knowing that the majority of the country, we didn't even need the Electoral College. The people elected him, legitimately. And at first, last time he was in, it was scary because he was there. Mm-hmm. But now it's like a mandate. He's there and everybody put him there. And I'm like, where is my safe space now? Because I'm even noticing even within my own community, people voted for this man. And now we're seeing what's already happening. And it's unbelievable how I am seeing this culture shift in this country to the point that I'm not even safe anymore. And I just don't know what to do about that. I don't even trust my own safe spaces anymore.
What do you think was the biggest driving force in Trump winning this election? Do you think it was more racism? Do you think it was misogyny? What do you think was the big driving force of this monster winning another election?
It's a mix of the both. I agree with you. It is misogyny and racism, but it's also the Republicans had a very powerful machine this year when it came to elections, and I still can't wrap my head around it. I mean, we had Lady Gaga and Beyonce out there, and it's like, but the thing is, if you think about it, they were the people that she had, Kamala had, for her were either black or female. So that even leads more to the notion that it was about racism and sexism.
Right, and there was a lot of misinformation coming from the right about, people, Elon Musk and these type of monsters, or like Alex Jones, for instance. I mean, I saw Alex Jones, he started making fun of you, and I guess I was just wondering, how did that affect you, and what would you like to say to him?
Yeah, here is Tim Walz. The governor has finally resurfaced after losing the election. Hasn't been seen in weeks. He finally resurfaced. Here he is.
And do you know how hard that is to know that? To go out there being myself. I don't even think I could be myself anymore. And what do you think that does to me in my community? That we can't even go out and be free anymore? Mm-hmm. Because all of you people, the ones who voted for that man, mm-hmm. You are so emboldened now, aren't you? So emboldened to do and say what you want. Make people feel any way that you think that they should feel. This is a sad time.
These are mentally ill people. By the way, we look. This person's a real person. That's enough. And in the archive, we'll put the full clip in. But they think because you won't accept them, you're not even doing anything to them, that because they're totally upset and mentally ill, that you're causing the mental illness. You're causing their depression. No, you are literally a clown. These dudes that say they're women don't even look like women. They literally look like space alien clowns. And I guess that's what you see before the end of the world is just space alien clowns everywhere, just cutting children's penises off and just.
This is really touching on a sensitive thing that's recently. Me and my wife we are going to make a response video to Alex Jones because it really is just so indicative of the times that this man attacks me at this time in our political history. And, you know, I don't want it to go unnoticed that he is losing his InfoWars, isn't he? Or is that's changed or something? The Onion was buying it. And
Yeah,
apparently it didn't go through.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't keep up with those things. I pretty much stick to real news like CNN and, like reliable sources where I'm not going to be drowned in misinformation. So I'm not really sure what's going on with that. When I saw that pig lift up your photo, it just made me as a white male, it really upset me.
But this Alex Jones, the fact that it really kind of lets you know how far he has slid in pop culture, that he has to use me. Like, you know, it's like what you have to get some handicapped lesbian that's barely on the radar and make fun of her and exploit her. And it's like, what do you want to achieve? Like, does he even realize the trauma that we're already feeling in this community? And then he adds insult to injury by using a video of me and then making fun of me. And then he called me Tim Walz as if that's going to offend me. But I know that's what he thought he was doing.
Right. That's pretty much a compliment, isn't it?
Well, yeah. I mean, if I'm going to be compared to a cisgendered man, it will be Tim Walz. I'm okay with that.
Are you now? Trump is talking a lot about mass deportations and things like that. And since, if I remember correctly, you're 2% Latinx, I don't want to misquote or.
Well, it's as Ancestry DNA updates, I become more Latin every time it updates. But I am less African than I was. But the thing is, he is aiming all of his hate toward to Latinx.
Now, are you concerned about deportations for yourself and Marquina?
I'm not, but the thing is, I mean, my grandmother was an immigrant, so I don't know. Is he going to find a reason to deport me because I am related to an immigrant?
Well, I think what he's planning on doing, it's kind of like how they did with the Jewish community, where if you're a certain percentage, I think Trump is planning on putting anybody who's not a white cis male in a concentration camp.
I have too many strikes against me to not end up in a camp. Female, lesbian, handicapped. I'm queer, and I'm vegan fluid, and it's like I know he'll find any reason that if you're not a heterosexual Christian white cisgendered man, he can come up with anything to put us in a camp.
Well, and you already know that they're not going to take in consideration bathroom situations in these internment camps. That itself is going to be a nightmare because they're going to try to tell you which restrooms to use and things like that in the internment camps because they're just monsters.
I'd be lucky to have a bucket. I mean, he probably won't even provide that. Probably make us dig holes in the back of the whatever shack he has us living in.
Yeah, how do you feel? Have you heard about this congresswoman who's really, I forget her name. She's really coming down on trans women using the restroom. Are you familiar with this?
Yes, I am. She should be able to use any restroom she wants in the Capitol. Now, granted, and I really like to be transparent and tell the truth when possible. She does have a private restroom in her office, but the thing is, she could be at any place in that building. And what is it to say, oh, you're only not oppressed in your own office, but you're oppressed in everywhere else in this building? It's not right. And I don't know how many unisex or gender neutral restrooms that they have, but is she just going to have to switch them over to her bathroom or trans bathrooms? Maybe that's what they need to do, is they need to take the general population bathrooms that just say genderless and just put trans on it. I mean, then we could have our own bathrooms.
Well, I saw that at an airport, I think in Philadelphia, there was the men's bathroom was just the men's bathroom, but then the women's bathroom, I thought it was beautiful. They called it the all-gender toilet.
Yeah, and not only that, Rodney, have you seen the ones that they call them family bathrooms?
I've seen that, but
And what does that mean? Do they mean LGBTQ family? I mean, because, I have, there are drag queens who have drag daughters and drag mothers. Is it really aimed to my community, or is it just to heterosexual cisgendered families? If that's the case, they need to remove the sign and they need to put trans only, because this is the thing. Why should a cisgendered family get a restroom when they're allowed, and nobody gives them grief if they go into any restroom whatsoever? I mean, I've seen women take their sons in, and men take their daughters in the men's restroom, and nobody cares. It's just when someone like me comes in. So I think we should be able to take over all the family bathrooms.
Well, and how would you feel about I agree with you. Now, how would you feel about a birth giver, a biological birth giver coming into your family bathroom? How would that make you feel?
Well, it would make I wouldn't feel safe anymore. I mean, it should be an obviously queer person who comes in, Right. I mean, this is the thing, because not everybody passes, okay? Now, Marquina, she's a trans, I'm a woman, but Marquina is a trans woman. And the thing is, unless she is really dolled up, she doesn't pass. So there are times that she will use the men's restroom as a safeguard. And it's, and why should she have to do that? So, the idea is, what they think is, you should only use the restroom that you pass as. And I guess that's, if society sees you as a woman, then all of a sudden you're a woman, you're allowed to use the restroom. But you know what? I've seen butch lesbians get kicked out of women's restrooms and be told that they're men. And it's just, what do we have to do? Just go around and show our genitals? We have to show our chromosomes? Like, what exactly do we need to prove to people just so I could poop? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it has really gotten... I'm just kind of curious. So let's say if you and your wife, Marquina, who's a trans woman, if you two are traveling together and let's say you both have to poop, so will Marquina go to the men's restroom and you'll go to the women's restroom? And does that kind of give you guys a break from each other, kind of keep the romance alive because you don't hear each other pooping? Or do you prefer to go to the same bathroom?
Oh, well, I mean, ideally we would like to go together. And we just feel safer that way,
Right.
Well,
yeah.
Marquina,
Sorry, excuse me.
Well, the way it works, like, we'll usually find a genderless private bathroom, and Marquina will poop and do her thing, and I'll stand and watch at the door. Like, I won't look at her because, I mean, I've seen her before, of course, but, out of respect and of safety, I keep an eye on the door. Make sure nobody comes in. And then when she's done, she lets me know. Then I sit down, I do my business, and she watches the door too.
So who are you watching the door for? Like, who are you making sure isn't coming in?
Well, you never know. Okay, I mean, we lock the door so we know that the public isn't going to walk in. But me and Marquina have been in a restroom, in a stall together, in a club, in a bathroom, and we had security actually come up to it and knock on it and saying only one person per stall. And it's like, why are you the perverts? It's like, you're watching women. Seriously? Like, why would you watch two women go into a bathroom together just out of protection? I mean, it's no big deal. We go powder our nose and we take a girlfriend with us or whatever. We've done that for ages. But when me and Marquina does it, all of a sudden there's a big problem and they think there's something going on. So no, they've trained us really to be afraid and to feel like we're not being safe. And so we always have to keep a vigilant eye out.
Have you ever tried to go into the men's restroom with Marquina and tried to powder your nose in there?
No, I won't even try, because they won't even believe that I belong in there anyway. Now, Marquina can pass as a man, but when I've like even walk by it, the men are just like checking me out and stuff, and I just realize that it's pointless, so I just use the women's restroom.
Yeah, I guess that would really put you in danger, because if you walked into the men's restroom, I just don't think a lot of people are. I don't think we should be separating them, but that does put you at danger just by, just the nature of the man. If like choosing the bear versus the man, for instance, would you rather go into a male restroom as yourself or just piss in the woods?
Well, this is the thing, that men naturally are just sexual creatures, and so they think about sex and everything. And the thing is, I could never walk into a men's restroom and be comfortable, and I would have to hold the door back because making someone's gonna. You're a man, I've been in a men's restroom. Do you know there are holes in the wall? Like, why are they looking at each other? I don't know what that's about.
Yeah, so the holes in the wall, I think they're called glory holes.
Okay.
So I think what happens is some males go in there and they stick their genitals through them, and I don't know if they're hoping that a woman walks in, or if another man just starts playing with their genitals while they're taking a poop or something. Don't you think it's a little transphobic for them to not have the glory holes in the female bathroom?
That's so odd. Why would you do that?
I think, I think it's just a kind of, some people are into voyeurism. Some people like having sex in front of other people. But then I think some men kind of like the secrecy of it as well. People are just into. I just really don't think we should kink shame, and honestly, I feel a little uncomfortable doing so.
Well, I'm sorry, Rodney, but this thing, you never see that in anything like in a woman's restroom. Like, we go in there, we go potty. You know what I mean? We go potty, we do our makeup, we probably talk about our friends. You know what I mean? Whatever, before we go back to the table. But never like sex ever. I don't know. But men are pigs. Men are just natural pigs. Regardless if they're gay or straight, men are pigs. I mean, I don't want to offend you, Rodney, but I mean, that's just my experience. That's all.
I'm a white guy for Harris, so I feel absolved of all my pigness. So I be sure when I enter a public space, I make sure to let all the minorities and all the women and things know that I am not associated. Like, sometimes I even use they, them pronouns, but I don't do that very often because I feel a little fraudulent doing that. But I like to let everybody know when I enter a space that I am a white guy for Harris, so they don't feel threatened by my presence, because I know what I look like, And
it's really unfortunate that men that came before you have put you in that position.
I know.
It's like you need a safe space too. You see, a lot of you do need, like, well, that's why White Men's for Harris, that was a safe space for you.
Right, yeah.
But it is terrible. It is, and I will say, I mean, even though white men have generally been categorized as oppressors and colonizers and abusers and slavers, and all this other stuff. The thing is, Rodney, that you're not all like that, and there needs to be something for people like you, and so I do understand why you would want to disarm everybody from the get-go. A Harris Walsh shirt, something, a rainbow shirt, anything that shows that you are in solidarity with the marginalized and oppressed.
Yeah, and I try my best. Now that leads me to kind of wonder. We haven't spoken about this before, but so how did you and your wife meet?
Just like, modern people do, a lot of people in our age group, they meet each other like at the club or at work or something. We met on a phone app called Beaver for lesbians. And so she asked me out on a date one day. A lot of lesbians, they just, they hem and haw, and they'll send pictures of their animals. And, all they want to do is talk about home projects and stuff. And the thing is, Marquina just cut right to the chase and said, hey, you want to meet me for dinner? Gave me the address of a Mexican restaurant in a neighboring city. And I did. I said, what the hell? And I met her, and we met. She bought me dinner. She asked me to go on a ride in her truck.
Wow.
That was scary, on the first date. And but I said, what the heck? And we went up. She took me up to a dark street. We parked. And the rest is history, and we've never been apart since.
Now, when you say, Marquina, cut right to the chase, does that mean that you guys scissored, or?
No, Rodney, no. Oral, but not, we didn't scissor. But,
Okay.
she just, Marquina smokes, which I don't like. And she just recently started smoking again. But that night she was smoking. And I told her before we got together, I'm not really into cigarettes because my last two were smokers. And, it's expensive, first of all.
Yeah.
And secondly, it's unhealthy. And so she, we were at the restaurant. We had a couple margaritas and we were sitting out by her truck and she's smoking a Marlboro and she flicked it. She thinks she's cool like that. She flicks it. And then she goes, "Hey, you want to go for a ride?" I'm all sure. And she has a big Ford, F-150. And so we get in it, takes me up to a dead end road and then stops the truck. And I'm like, "Oh, what's she going to do to me?" And she did it to me. But,
Did she do it in the back of the truck or in the cab?
In the cab, I'm a large lady and I can't really, the back is kind of small. So, you could recline the seat and push it all the way back. And there's lots of room.
Oh, I meant like the bed of the truck.
Oh, no. Oh, no, that's not. No, because I would be afraid of people seeing me. But, we were inside. But I did have to, it did prove to be a little large. I'm too large for even a Ford F-150. So I had to turn and get one leg out the passenger door, and then she was able to straddle me with one leg out, but the other one stayed in. But
I think, does Marquina still have this truck?
No, she got rid of it and got a Ford Escape.
Oh, okay. That's actually what I drive.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a 2013 or something.
Yeah, I don't know what mine is, but I have
Did you
had
know-
sex in the back of a truck itself, like in the bed of it.
You have
And
done that?
Yeah, and it was actually pretty cool.
Like a full size?
It was a Toyota Tacoma.
Oh, okay. So that's like a mid or a mid. Yeah, they don't even make small trucks anymore, do they? It's like they're kind of mid or large, aren't they?
Yeah, well, I mean, it was because the woman I was with was rather voluptuous.
Okay.
And so it was a perfect place because I didn't want to take her home. And the cab was, there were logistical errors in the cab. So when we
you didn't want to take her to your home.
Correct, yeah. Because I just didn't want her. I just didn't have any food or anything at the house. So
was this a one-time thing?
Yeah, it was a one-time thing.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
You kind of knew that.
Yeah, I knew that going into it, and she did as well. I mean, she was just exploring her sexuality, and I didn't want to shame her, and she was just being a progressive woman. So I figured, who am I to tell her no?
Oh no, yeah, but it was her choice.
Oh yes, it was one. Yeah, it was 100% her choice. Honestly, I didn't even really want to be there, but since that's what she wanted, I felt obliged to just do that for her because my people have caused so much pain and agony to women.
And you were able to get an erection just for being a good guy.
Oh yeah, 100%. I thought about how people were going to receive me as being a good person, and I got hard as a rock, and and
she received it.
And I railed her in the back of a Toyota Tacoma.
Well, did she enjoy? I'm sure she enjoyed herself.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, she kind of moaned, but I have, if I think about the bonus hole, about how an entire baby can come out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So when I hear women moaning over my penis, I kind of feel like they're lying to me because I've seen babies come out of the bonus hole. And so I know like my penis really isn't doing that much. But so when she's acting like she enjoys it, it kind of makes me question things. Do you know what I mean?
I want to thank you for referring it to as the bonus hole. And secondly, just to make you feel better, the bonus hole has a muscle in it that contracts and it does contract and expand. So it can accommodate the smallest of things and the largest of things as well. So it really is a beautiful organ, and it's designed to open and close. So, I mean, unless come on, we put tampons in there, and they're very skinny. So, and they do hurt. They can hurt. So, no, I'm sure you're adequate, Rodney.
I hope so. Thank you. I really hope so. I'm wondering, so how are you concerned about your reproductive rights? How much has that affected your mental health? I'm sure you're already dealing with a lot of anxiety and other things that women deal with, but do you have any optimism about getting women's rights back?
Well, that's the thing. And I'm not, anybody who's watched me and knows me over the years, I don't have a uterus. So thank goodness that reproductive rights aren't something that affects me. But it does affect me because I am a woman. And,
Right.
and women, you know, and that is what we do. You know, we have vaginas and uteruses. I was not born with one, but this is the thing.
But you can still get pregnant because you're a woman.
No, well, I mean,
kinda
who
confused.
knows? I mean, who knows? I don't have a uterus, so I can't get pregnant.
But you are a
technically.
woman.
I am a woman, yes, but I don't have. I just have the one. I just have the one female organ. There's the vagina, the uterus, and then the clitoris. I just have the clitoris. I don't have a uterus or a vagina. And I know I'm an exception to the rule, and I fully accept that. But I'm not. But my rights are no less than anybody else. I mean, you know, I should be protected and just as much as the majority are. But this is the thing.
Bless you.
Thank you. If I know that women's reproductive health is on the line. Well, it's not even on the line. It's been actually decided.
It's destroyed.
It's destroyed, and we have to. The states have to decide. Well, this is the thing. First, it's reproductive rights. Then what's next? Everything's on a slippery slope. So first, they're going to take over reproductive rights, and then what's next? You know, and that's what I worry about. What's next?
Well, and I don't think the average ignorant Trump voter really understands how hard it is, or I mean, how easy it is to get pregnant. Excuse me, because they just think they don't understand the magnitude of taking these reproductive rights away, because out of the 30 days of the month, there's 4 days that women can get pregnant, and then let's say if they're not on birth control, and then they don't wear a condom, like these things happen, you know? And then if the guy cream pies her and she forgets to go to CVS like the next 2 days, she might be pregnant, you know what I mean? And so these conservatives, they don't realize how easy this is to get pregnant, how much of a problem this is. And then she only has, 3 months to decide if she wants the baby or not?
Well, that's the thing. And a lot of these people that are for the marginalization of women,
Right.
they don't realize that a lot of women are getting pregnant because men want to make love to them. And it's like a lot of times women don't want to, but they feel like they have to because they know that a man is stronger than them and more powerful than them, and most often makes the most money in the household. So you automatically feel that there is not an equal power in the household. Therefore, the woman is made to believe that one way she can contribute is to spread her legs for her man. And often it happens, and we end up getting pregnant, and then what are we left with? We're just a prisoner to the man, and
Right.
and the federal government has ensured that we are by making sure that we don't have access to reproductive health.
Now, have you ever had an abortion?
No, I haven't, and you know, and I'm torn because it's like, you know, I know a lot of women who have gone through abortion, and it's almost like a rite of passage to womanhood,
Right.
and it's like that's something that I'm denied and that I will never be able to experience. But it's I mean, definitely not a prerequisite to have an abortion, but it is a rite of passage in certain ways.
Right. So how do you cope with? Have you talked to your therapist about this or anything like that, or are there support communities where other women who aren't able to have an abortion can kind of? Is there a community that you can find solace in?
It is a small one, but it's nothing organized, and it's more of like a one online that you just talk to your friends with. But it has been an outlet because there is a part of me that does feel less of a woman because
Well, no,
I can't.
Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but you should never feel like less of a woman just because you haven't had an abortion. And I'm sure we don't know where medicine's going to go. You know, we don't know where science is going to go.
Thank you for that.
So I would never rule it out that, you know, I'm still confused. I mean, you're saying you don't have a uterus, but you are a woman. So I'm going to have to go do some research later and avoid some misinformation. But I've always been under the impression that women trans women, any sort of woman can get pregnant. So I guess that's something I'm just very ignorant about.
Yeah, I don't. Some women are not born with a uterus, and so it's something we deal with. Knowing that we don't have really the vital organ that. I'm sorry.
If this is too difficult, we can change topic. If this is too difficult, like I don't want to make you feel uncomfortable, but I do feel honored that this is a safe space where you feel comfortable enough to cry, because it is very tragic that you can't have an abortion.
It's really not even. It's just not having uterus, and that is a thing that really has bothered me my whole life. And I do see my other lady friends with children, and I go, would I really want them? But honestly, I think it's me protecting myself, because it is tragic that I cannot bear children. So I see other women, and I sort of like think, oh, well, at least I'm not getting up at 3 a.m. to take care of a baby. And, at least, I may have a little bit more money in my purse than she does, but it's like, I try to convince myself, in my quiet times, oh, you don't want a baby, Hogatha. You don't need one to make you a woman, but deep down, it does mean something. The reality is that women are generally born to give birth and to mother a baby. And it's just something that I was denied. And, maybe one day I'll know why. I don't know.
I guess on the positives, you won't destroy your body, or you won't have to have, like a baby sucking on your breasts, for instance, or, that is a positive. You'll keep your body looking so good.
Well, that's the thing, that's all I'm left with is looking at the positive. So yeah, I do look at that. I don't, I won't end up with, I know a lot of women that end up with very tough nipples. And even
right.
They talked about that in Silence of the Lambs.
I've encountered that. Single mothers with tough nipples.
That is something that I really do take pride in, is I have very supple nipples, and Marquina loves them. So that, in one thing, it has, it's, I guess, a positive for me in my romantic life, but also the whole, when you get pregnant, and you end up getting a lot of stretch marks. Now,
right.
Granted, I do have stretch marks because I'm obese, but they're just a different nature when you're pregnant, and your stomach gets very large. So that's, like I said, those are I can only think of the silver linings. You know what I mean? If I dwell on, everything that I'm missing and everything that I wish I had, then I would be depressed all the time. So I have to look at the positive,
Now, hopefully this doesn't hurt too much, but if you could get an abortion, right? Because I want to keep this wishful thinking, because I think we can, our thoughts create reality, So I think it's good to just kind of put yourself in the driver's seat of your imagination and imagine these things coming into fruition. If you could have an abortion, when do you think would be the best time to have it? Like, when do you imagine yourself having that abortion? How far into the pregnancy? Because the longer you carry the baby, the more attention you'll get,
Well, that's a tough question. Considering that I'm of advanced age, and I think it would be the wrong. I am 54. I don't think it would be fair to have a child at 54. But let's say if I was in my 30s, okay, I'd want to keep the baby long enough to know what it feels like to be pregnant, because I know, I don't know because I don't have a uterus, but I would imagine that a typical woman don't even know that they're pregnant at a month. You really don't, maybe you're getting light symptoms, because by the time you've missed your period, you're already like a month pregnant, And it's like, I kind of would want to see a baby bump.
Right.
And I'm not sure where, maybe is that the 3rd month? I don't know. And maybe buy one maternity outfit just to have the experience of buying a maternity.
Pics.
I want to get pics of, hashtag baby bump, things like that.
Right, because you get best of both worlds. You get the attention of a new mother, plus you get to experience the abortion, which is progressive feminism.
And that's the thing. It's like I would want to feel the full experience of womanhood. So even, I would even contemplate names, of course, gender neutral names.
Right.
And, even telling some people, you know what, I think I'm pregnant. My breasts are tender. I think I'm late, and then go through the whole process, and that's, of what a classic, biological or cisgendered woman would go through.
Right.
And then, go through the agony of, do I want to keep it? Can I afford it? Is it going to be ugly? Things like that. I've known women who have aborted. I knew a woman, and I'm not kidding you, Rodney. I knew a woman who aborted her baby because the father was darker than the first father of her first baby, and she didn't want her babies to be different complexions. So that's why she aborted her baby. And, every reason is valid. I mean, I'm never going to tell a woman, why they should or should not have an abortion. But I personally, that's not the avenue I would go. But I do romanticize, of thinking up names and thinking about the baby's future, the future it's not going to have, but, what it might look like and what I might be as a grandmother and stuff. And then finally get to the point where I've realized I can't raise this baby and I don't have the money or really the, I guess the patience for it, or, and I'm elderly, but, but yes, that to me, that would really bring all of the womanhood all to a head, and really experience it all in one experience, one experience, it's a wonderful and a tragic experience at the same time.
Well, you do menstruate, though, correct? Because you've spoken openly about your hemorrhoids. So is that?
Well, that's me really trying to experience a form of womanhood. But I do go through because I do have a clitoris, so I do go through a monthly cycle of some kind. But I use feminine products when I have. I don't know how graphic you want me to get here, but
I mean, this is a safe space.
I'm on Ozempic, okay, and I do have bouts of diarrhea, so I use tampons for that.
Like when you're in public, so you don't have to use in case there's not a trans restroom, or is it kind of a preventative thing, or?
Well, I mean, come on. I mean, there's not even, like, I'm glad you brought up the restroom thing because there isn't always the restrooms available to us, but when I do my Ozempic and I do have that the extra diarrhea, I can't sometimes control myself, so I do use a tampon.
And the tampon, do you just use one?
One and a panty liner or a pad.
Okay, because I feel like
I know you're a man, so the tampon goes inside, and the pad or a Kotex, a pad or a panty liner will line the underwear. So I wear a pad in my underwear every day, but when I know that I've done my Ozempic and I'm gonna get the diarrhea, I use the tampon.
Is that a common side effect with the diarrhea and the Ozempic?
For me, it is. I'll get, especially if I eat something real greasy, because see, when I first started taking the Ozempic, it really curbs your appetite. I've been doing it for over a year now, and it no longer curbs the appetite, but it does restrict the amount of food I will eat, but it doesn't stop me from being hungry. So, I'll be hungry. I'm like, oh, let me get me a cheeseburger and fries or a burrito or something. And I pack it in, and all of a sudden I feel very full. And that's the nature of Ozempic, is it keeps you full longer. So you don't eat as much. But what happens is I've dumped all that grease into me, and the body just gets rid of the grease immediately. And unfortunately, it comes from behind, and it's violent and explosive. And I can't trust, I'll be near a toilet. So I wear a tampon as a precautionary measure. And then the pad is there in case the tampon fails.
Right, because I would think with that much pressure, because I've seen tampons, and I feel like they're fairly small compared to like a turd that's came out of my butt. So I feel like if I had immense greasy pressure, I don't know if that would hold it back. So that's why I'm pretty impressed that one tampon. Do you have like a special big tampon or something? Or
Well, they do come in light days, super and super plus, which is the super plus is the most absorbent. But this is the thing. I know you probably don't understand, but let me hear just for visual purposes. Let's say this is a tampon that you insert.
Okay.
Well, what happens is as it gets moist, it starts to expand.
Oh.
So now it's kind of created a cork inside of you. So finally, what happens is once it gets fully absorbed, I mean, now you're no longer, now it's basically going to start pushing it out. Like the dam is going to break.
So is it hard? Is it hard to get it back out once it's expanded?
You have to really relax because do you ever hang anything on your wall like a picture with an anchor?
Yeah, yeah.
And you screw it in and the anchor expands behind the drywall.
Right.
It's sort of doing that. So now I've created like this wall anchor that now it's really big on one end and really small on the other. So now I have to really relax to I've had to pull out in pieces too. I'll just pull the cotton out until I've pulled enough out to where I could just pass the rest.
Wow. That's a whole thing, huh?
It is, but you do what you got to do. I don't. It's very embarrassing to be in public, and you pass a little gas or something, and you shart, and then you're wearing white, and you don't have anything with you, and that's happened to me quite a few times. So I've learned the hard way.
Damn. Well, Hogatha, I appreciate you being so open and honest, and it really means a lot to me that you would come on my show and just educate, because most of the people that listen to me are white men. So it just shows me whenever I talk to you, I realize how ignorant I am I didn't know anything about tampons at the beginning of this conversation. I didn't know that trans women could not get pregnant. I figured you'd had an abortion or two. So I'm really just learning a lot, and I just really appreciate you. And again, I feel really bad for all the things you're going through right now, the ridicule you're getting from white supremacists on the internet, and Donald Trump taking reproductive rights away, which do affect you, and coming after your Latinx type people, deporting them. So I know this is probably a pretty hard interview for you to do. So
it is, but this is the thing. You're the only like cisgendered white man that's ever even given me a chance, and it really gives me hope because people like you, specifically you, Rodney, you want to know and you want to do better. And I really, really am thankful for men like you and any man who watches this show, because it shows that they really care and they want to do better and they want to be informed.
And do you have any message to those men specifically that you would like to share with them? Beyond what we've already discussed, maybe further steps that they can take to better themselves?
Yes, please think about your daughter. Think about your daughter who might need to abort your grandchild. Think
Right.
about your son who wakes up and discovers that he was born in the wrong body.
Right.
They need to think about that. And watching this and someone like me who educates them is part of the first step. And just open your mind, let go of your ego and listen to women, and specifically women of color. And trans women of color are really they are the voice of the sage, honestly. And you really need to listen to them more. But more than anything, Rodney, I want to thank you, and I want to thank you to the other men that are just open to receive the message. You might not understand, but at least you've made the first step and you're trying.
Well, thank you. And would you be open maybe sometime to come back on the show, and maybe we could bring in one of these terrible white supremacists and try to, educate them in real time?
Oh.
Maybe I could like moderate a thing between, you and...
Absolutely. And and I think they'd actually be more receptive to the message if you're here. I mean, you're. I mean, come on, you can't get any whiter than you, Rodney. I mean,
yeah, I know, and I feel like I could kind of try to bridge that gap.
We need men like you. We need more like you. So I more than ever. And so I really want to thank you for that.
Hell yeah. Well, Hogatha, I did want to ask you one more thing. I wanted to ask you about the origin of your name, because you are the only person I've ever heard with the name Hogatha. I just kind of want to know if it had like ancestral roots, or if it was a Latin thing, or if your parents gave you that name.
No, it's not my birth given name, but it was once I decided to be my authentic self. It happened during the death of my grandparents, and my grandparents they raised me, Agatha and Homer. So I put their names together as and because they allowed me to be myself toward the end, but they allowed me they let up, you know what I mean? And I don't know, I think when people get older, sometimes they get softer and they realize the error of their ways and stuff. And but like I said, my grandparents raised me. I wanted to rename myself, and I thought who better than to honor my grandparents who raised me and really took care of me. So Homer and Agatha, I put them together and came up with a Hogatha.
Wow, that is beautiful.
Thank you.
I don't know if I can think of a better way to wrap up an interview than a heartfelt moment like that. Wow, that really touched me, honestly. I'm sure they're very proud. Yeah, wow. Wow. Well, anyways, Hogatha, thank you so much, and be sure to tell Marquina hi. Maybe Marquina even wants to come on one of these times when we talk to one of these white supremacists or something like that, because I think it'd be good to have a woman of color.
Well, yeah,
that's something she's interested in.
Well, yeah, I mean, well, I'll see if she can. She gets very angry sometimes.
Well,
it's
rough times for women of color right now.
Right. So she just really has no tolerance. And so I just, maybe when some time passes by, she'll be ready to go on camera.
Yeah, well, I don't want to rush any women. All righty, Hogatha. Well, thank you so much. Let's do this again, okay?
Thank you so much, Rodney.